So, when you're watching a video, I know, like, especially with like a streaming service, right? You're watching the TV show, that movie. We put our captions on, right? There's like a freaking debate of captions on or captions off for like Netflix, Hulu, etc. Right? But what about the videos you're putting out? That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's episode of the BB&J podcast, Captions. I'm your host, John Lint. Let's get into it. So, like I was saying, people take captions for granted when they're available. And on, platforms like Facebook and YouTube, they aren't always available. So, whereas like take a platform like Netflix, right? All of their videos are captioned. The movies, the shows, this, that, and the other. And most people watch those videos with captions, right? If you're on a streaming service and they don't have captions, that brings the bar down. That's weird. That's kind of confusing, kind of frustrating. Compare that to social media. On social media, a big chunk of videos just simply aren't captioned, right? So if you are putting captions on your videos, you are elevating your content, you're putting it a cut above, and you're going to see better results from your videos. We always talk about getting the most out of your content. We always talk about, having getting most out of your content, right? We always talk about upcycling. We talk about, doing things to turn a video into more than a video and improve your engagement, right? Because you should be doing your due diligence to make the video as quality as you reasonably can. I don't think that's unreasonable. Hopefully you don't either. So let's kind of get into it. Let's kind of get into to captions. Because captions reliably improve engagement. According to Facebook, captions can boost your video time, or boost video time, video view time, to clarify, by about 12%. And you might be thinking, like, okay, well, John, like, is 12% that big of a deal? If that 12% is getting you from, 38% to 50%, if it's getting you from that 88 to 100, that makes a difference. And critically, because there's so many videos where there aren't captions, if you're putting captions on your videos, it's going to be a cut above. It's going to be something a little special that's going to encourage people to watch your video and stay on your video. We get used to kind of reading as we watch the video, as kind of following along. And some people really gravitate towards that. So if you're wanting to improve your engagement, putting some captions on can make a whole lot of difference. So let's talk about the best softwares for captioning. There are a bunch of resources available to you, Like, you might be sitting here and thinking, John, it's all well and good that there's captions, but I don't want to write out every single caption for every single video. That's going to take too long. And I know. I'll admit I've done it before. It takes way too long. It's not a good use of your time and resources. So that's why I'm saying, if you're captioning your videos, you should be using a software. There's a bunch available to you, and there's different ways to get it. But the key thing is, if you're going to be using a software to caption your videos, and I would recommend using a software before trying to type it out yourself. It's just going to save you so much time. Make sure that it can get out and export in a format that works for the kind of platforms you're putting it on. And find something that works best for you, right? So, like I said, there are a lot of options, available to you that you can access in your wheelhouse. And you really are best off using them. So what are some of these platforms you can be using? YouTube auto captions for you. However, the formatting isn't perfect. It doesn't split it up, really. It's not export friendly, so it doesn't do the timings. You just kind of get this whole big block of text. And in general, the formatting just it's not where it could be. It doesn't really do like periods, new sentences. Sometimes it can be kind of inaccurate with what it says. But if you're looking for a free service that does an okay job and is pretty easy to edit, because it is just like a block of text, so it is a lot easier and more intuitive to work with than the YouTube subtitles. But you do have to make sure that by default you have subtitles added to your videos. The second option is Facebook. So once again, for free, Facebook will transcribe your videos. And what's great about Facebook is it does it with timings. So and you can actually export it. In terms of accuracy, I'd say it is a little bit better, and it does a better job of like breaking up sentences with capitalizations and punctuation marks. But it isn't perfect. It's not without flaw. Sometimes it messes things up, so you do still have to review it. And it's not quite as easy to make those revisions, because you do have to like go through the timings. You can't edit it as one big block. With YouTube, though, you can, like I said, you can actually export it as what's called a SRT file format. So SRT refers to a subrip subtitle file, or a subrip file is what it's called, which is a rip of the subtitles, right? You're just pulling it from the video. And what's great about Facebook, though, is what it's exported as is like the most universal format for subtitles and captioning. Because if you're going to be working with subtitles or captions, the big platforms are YouTube and Facebook, really. And it does help with blogs. One thing I'll say about the YouTube thing is, because you can just copy paste it, it is easier to turn that into a blog transcription. Just a thought. And but Facebook does do the formatting pretty well. It does it well. The third option that I'm going to go over is a paid platform. So the advantage of these platforms is it can provide the content in different ways. So you can do it with the timings as an SRT file. You can also pull the text. It'll do things like it'll separate paragraphs by speaker. What we personally use is something called Temi. Great audio transcription, reasonably priced, which I do appreciate. And all the formattings you'll need, it can do. And, the modifications that aren't really available on those free platforms. So, you can include speaker information, you can include timings, which you don't have to. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for that content, And if you're using these platforms, they're probably going to do a much better job at adding all that little stuff, right? Adding it's going to be more accurate, so you have to spend less time reviewing it, which is great. It's going to include the punctuation and the capitalizations, so once again, you can save time while maintaining that quality. It is, so if you have a little bit of money to work with, audio transcription platform and service is great. It definitely gets you that the bang for your buck. I will say that. But if you're watching this and you're thinking like, okay, well then, that's good, but like, how do I figure out what makes the most sense for me, right? Because I talked about that earlier. Critically, the reason that I'm bringing this stuff up is because I want to give you the resources so that you can go and figure out what makes the most sense for you. So in that lens, with that in mind, I wanted to talk about the best practices for formatting, right? So the question is, if you are creating an SRT file, right, that subrip file, how should you be formatting it so that you don't have to make a bunch of modifications for every single platform you use, right? How do you format your video, or more accurately, how do you format your captions so that you can upload it to whatever platform allows for captions and you don't have to worry about making modifications and tweaks? Well, the first thing I'll say is make sure you're including the timings. So you have the timings in the text. And if you're using a platform or even Facebook, it's going to include those in the industry standard way. You can look at that up, but I definitely recommend that. Another thing is the file name. Facebook specifically has a way that it does it, where it does you have to do .enus. If you do that, if you have file name .en_us, for example, for English .srt, that'll ensure that that in combination with including the timings in the file are going to be those are the two big formatting things, and if you have those, then you're pretty much set. Now, what I will say is, if you're worried, because you might be thinking like, John, SRT files, all well and good. Maybe I haven't heard of it before. Maybe I've just seen it and don't know a lot about it. But how can I modify them? Well, your computer might not by default know what you can do, but guess what? You can just use text editor, Notepad, whatever it is, and it'll open it. Fine, no problem. And you can make those modifications. So, if you're looking to kind of reiterate, if you're looking to format your SRT file or your captions in a way that is applicable across most platforms, the biggest thing is to add that the language extension, so like normally .en_us to the file name, so it's applicable on Facebook. And the other thing is making sure that those timings are there and that they're formatted properly. If you do those two things, I can guarantee you your captions will work anywhere. You know, and I mean that's the whole priority, right? Just keeping it simple. So that's about all I have for you today. I hope you got something good out of it. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can see more content about this, some of Bridget's content. You know, we try to get out. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all that goodness. Just got on Reddit. Check out r/BB Digital. We have a nice little subreddit where we put all this stuff out. But you know, other than that, I appreciate you folks for watching to the end. I've been your host, John Lint, and I'll see you next week.